Good morning class, I am Tushar Gupta, your science educator, and today we are here to start our new chapter, that is chapter number 6 of class 6, and the chapter name is Materials Around Us. Let's see its learning objectives, materials, classification of materials, grouping of materials on the basis of the common properties. So now let's start the chapter. We see a large number of things around us in our day-to-day life. Some of these things are living, whereas some are non-living. Some are natural, whereas some are man-made. Living things include the plant, animals, and human beings, while non-living things include the air, water, rocks, machine, and many other things. Given below are some of the different things found in a room and kitchen. Identify these things. Basically, हमें large number of things दिखती हैं हमारी डे टू डे लाइफ में, और कुछ थिंग्स ऐसी हैं जो लिविंग हैं और कुछ ऐसी भी हैं जो नॉन लिविंग हैं, कुछ नेचुरल है या फिर कुछ हम कह सकते हैं कि वो मैन मेड है. ओके, लिविंग थिंग्स में इंक्लूड होती हैं प्लांट, एनिमल, ह्यूमन बींग्स, वाइल नॉन लिविंग थिंग्स में होती हैं जैसे कि एयर, वाटर, रॉक, फर्नीचर, जो भी हमारे आसपास चीजें हैं. नाउ नेक्स्ट इज द मटेरियल. Material is the matter from which a thing is made and matter is everything that can be seen or touched. Material एक ऐसा मैटर है जिससे कि एक थिंग मेड होती है, या फिर हम बोल सकते हैं मैटर ऐसा है जो एवरीथिंग है जो हम सीन कर सकते हैं या टच कर सकते हैं. द एयर दैट वी ब्रीथ इज अ मैटर. एनीथिंग दैट हैज मास एंड ऑक्यूपाइज स्पेस इज कॉल्ड अ मैटर. जो एयर हम ब्रीथ करते हैं वो भी एक मैटर है, और एनीथिंग जिसके पास एक मास है और जो ऑक्यूपाई करता है स्पेस, उसको हम मैटर बोलते हैं. डेली न्यू मटेरियल्स आर बीइंग डिस्कवर्ड दैट आर चेंजिंग आवर वेज एंड स्टैंडर्ड ऑफ लिविंग. डिफरेंट थिंग्स हैव डिफरेंट शेप, साइज एंड बेसिकली डिफरेंट थिंग्स के उसके अलग अलग शेप्स होते हैं, साइज होते हैं. ओके, और नई नई चीजें डेली आ रही हैं और कलर्स भी होते हैं. दे हैव डिफरेंट प्रॉपर्टीज एंड यूजेस. डिस्पाइट दीज डिफरेंसेस मैनी थिंग्स शो सिमिलरिटीज इन वन और मोर वे. बहुत सी ऐसी अलग अलग प्रॉपर्टीज हैं उनकी और अलग अलग यूजेस भी हैं, और इन डिफरेंसेस के बाद में भी कुछ सिमिलरिटी भी होती है. नाउ ग्रुपिंग ऑफ थिंग्स. There is a large variety of things around us. To better understand the world we live in, we organize the diversity of things by classify them into the groups based on some common characteristic of property. बहुत सी एक ऐसी लार्ज वैरायटी है थिंग्स की हमारे आसपास, और बेटर अंडरस्टैंड करने के लिए हम इसको ऑर्गेनाइज करते हैं. कैसे? एक ग्रुप बना के. ओके, Have you ever collected a stamps, picture, card, coin or rock? If yes, you will know how important it is to sort out a collection into sets. A set is a group of objects with similar properties such as color, size, shape and usage. एक सेट जो होता है वो एक ग्रुप ऑफ ऑब्जेक्ट होता है जिस पर सिमिलर प्रॉपर्टी है, जैसे उसकी प्रॉपर्टीज बेसिस हैं कलर, साइज, शेप या यूजेज. What do all the objects in each set have in common? It is possible to have an object in more than one set. You must have visited a mall or a local grocery shop. Have you ever observed how the things are arranged there? You may find that the eatables are kept separated from the soaps and other items. All type of toffees and biscuits are stacked together. The pulses and cereals are kept at different places. The grocers group things according to the convenience. Grouping helps to locate things, hence grouping thing is very useful in our daily life. अगर हम किसी दुकानदार के पास जाएं तो उसके पास भी चीजें सब कुछ ग्रुप होकर रखी रहती हैं, जैसे कि टॉफी, बिस्किट वगैरह होंगे वो सब एक जगह स्टैक होंगे, वेजिटेबल्स होंगे, ईटेबल्स होंगे वो एक जगह होंगे, पल्सेस और सीरियल्स होंगी वो भी मेरे अलग जगह पे होंगी. ओके, now the classification of material. As you can see that the figure below shows the items of daily use in a grocery shop. All these items are useful to us in some way or the other. Observe carefully, you will find each item different from the other. They may differ in color, size, shape, material, utility, shelf life, and so on. A grocery shop has many things. Imagine the confusion if all the things were dumped together in one place. The shopkeeper would never be able to find things that the buyer wants. बेसिकली ये ग्रोसर की अगर शॉप है तो वो एक प्रॉपर्ली अरेंज होनी चाहिए कि लाइक चिप्स की एक जगह पे, बिस्किट की एक जगह पे, परफ्यूम्स है, शैम्पू है, सोप्स है, उनकी एक जगह पे. ओके, जो grouping or sorting out things into separate groups on the basis of their shape, color, material and nature is known as the classification. अगर हम ऐसा बोले कि जो ग्रुपिंग होती है, सॉर्टिंग होती है थिंग्स की सेपरेट ग्रुप्स में, किसके बेसिस पे? शेप, कलर, मटेरियल, नेचर के बेसिस पे, तो इसको हम बोलते हैं क्लासिफिकेशन. नाउ एक्टिविटी जोन. टू अंडरस्टैंड द क्लासिफिकेशन ऑफ डिफरेंट टाइप्स ऑफ थिंग्स that are made of same materials. Collect information about different things that are made of the same materials like cotton, leather, paper, plastic, metal and wood. Seek help from the library and internet resources. Record your observation in table 1. Also make the list in MS Excel. Take the printout and paste it in your file. One example of each is given. Add more things to the list, different things that are made of the same material. We sort the object around us because it gives the following advantage. हम sort क्यों करते हैं? इसके advantage नीचे दिए गए हैं. Sorting makes it convenient to study the properties of object of one category and also observe the pattern in these properties. Basically sorting जो होती है वो हमें convenient बनाती है कि उनकी properties objects की एक category में रख पाए, also observe कर पाए pattern क्या है उनकी property में. Sorting of objects into group make it easier to locate them. अगर सॉर्टिंग हो रही है ऑब्जेक्ट्स की ग्रुप में तो वो इजियर कर देती है कि उनको लोकेट किया जा सके. Now the materials. Different things contain different kind of matter. All these kinds of matter may be called by a common name materials. different things होती हैं, उनके अलग अलग kind of matter होते हैं. ओके और जितने भी different kinds of matter होते हैं उसको हम common name से बोलते हैं materials. A material can be used to make different kinds of things. For example, glass can be used to make tumbler, ball, mirror, window panes. A particular material may contain a single substance or a number of substance. एक पर्टिकुलर मटेरियल जो होता है उसमें सिंगल सब्सटेंस भी होता है या फिर नंबर ऑफ सब्सटेंसेस भी हो सकते हैं. Thus, all things are made of more material. For example, a measuring scale, foot ruler may be made up of the wood, plastic or steel. Materials may be naturally occurring or man-made. For example, wood, cotton, jute, marble are naturally occurring. Glass, steel, thermocol, plastic, polyester, these are the man-made materials. जो materials होते हैं वो naturally occurring भी हो सकते हैं और वो even man-made भी हो सकते हैं. Now, activity zone. To understand the classification of things that are made up of more than one kind of material, observe things like plate, pan, furniture, table, mat, door, water container, jackets. Identify the materials are made up of. Record your observation in table 2 and MS Excel. Add 3 more things to the list. Take help of elders, library and internet resources. बेसिकली इस टेबल में आपको ये चीज बनानी है. Now, different type of objects made of the same material. Plastic is a material. It can be used to make different kind of object. Plastic भी एक material है, उसकी help से different kind of objects बन सकते हैं. जैसे कि object बन सकते हैं toy, utensil, bag, mugs, tumblers, bucket. ये सब मेरे प्लास्टिक से ही बनते हैं. Objects made up of a combination of various materials. For example, a biscuit is an object that is made by combining the 4 materials: wheat, flour, maida, sugar, milk, vanaspati ghee. So we conclude that an object may be made up of a combination of materials. An object can be made of different materials. Different type of object can be made of the same material. So इससे conclude ये होता है कि object जो होता है वो या तो combination of material से बने या फिर different मटेरियल से बने या फिर different टाइप ऑफ ऑब्जेक्ट जो होते हैं वो मेड अप ऑफ हो सकते हैं सेम मटेरियल से भी. नाउ एक और एक्टिविटी जोन. टू फाइंड द कॉम्बिनेशन ऑफ मटेरियल्स नीडेड टू मेक एन ऑब्जेक्ट. ये अलग अलग ऑब्जेक्ट दिख रहे हैं, उनके कॉम्बिनेशन हमको बताने हैं. टू डिसाइड व्हिच मटेरियल शुड बी यूज्ड फॉर मेकिंग अ गिवन ऑब्जेक्ट वी नीड टू स्टडी द प्रॉपर्टीज ऑफ डिफरेंट मटेरियल्स. नाउ ग्रुपिंग ऑफ मटेरियल्स ऑन द बेसिस ऑफ कॉमन प्रॉपर्टीज. यू नो दैट एन ऑब्जेक्ट थिंग कैन बी मेड from the different materials. For example, a spoon can be made up of steel, plastic or wood. However, same material cannot be used for making everything. For example, you can use fabrics like cotton, wool or nylon to make a shirt. However, you cannot use fabrics to make a cooking pot. Hence, we choose a material to make an object depending on its properties and the purpose for which the object is to be used. So basically, हम अलग अलग मटेरियल को ऐसा नहीं कि सारी चीज के बनाने के लिए काम में ले सकें. ओके जैसे कि फैब्रिक्स लाइक कॉटन या वुल होते हैं उससे शर्ट बन सकती है, लेकिन उन फैब्रिक से एक कुकिंग पॉट नहीं बन सकता. इसलिए हम मटेरियल को ऐसा चूज करते हैं जो डिपेंड करता है उसकी प्रॉपर्टीज और पर्पज को, जो पर्पज उसका फुल करना चाहिए. Now the appearance and luster. Materials usually look different from each other. Mud looks different from the wood. Wood looks different from the plastic. Plastic look different from the copper. Copper look different from iron or aluminium. मटेरियल्स जो होते हैं वो अलग अलग दिखते हैं एक दूसरे से. ओके जैसे कि मड अलग दिखता है वुड से. सिमिलरली अलग अदर एग्जांपल्स भी हैं. एक्टिविटी जोन. To show that certain materials have luster, materials require small piece of paper, cardboard, a thin piece of wood, a small strip of plastic, 7 thin wires of copper, aluminium and iron, heavy scissor, metal cutter and a sandpaper. Procedure: cut each of the material with a heavy scissor or metal cutter. Carefully observe the cut surface of each material. You will notice that in the case of paper, cardboard, wood, plastic, the cut surface is not shining. However, in case of thin wires of the copper, aluminium and iron, the cut surface is shining. Rub each of the material with the sandpaper. Carefully observe the sandpaper surface of the material. You will notice that in case of the paper, cardboard, plastic, wood, the papered surface is not shining. However, in case of the thin wires of copper, aluminium, iron, the sandpapered surface is shining. The property of a material with a shining surface is called the luster, यानी कि चमक. जो प्रॉपर्टी ऐसे मटेरियल की जो शाइनिंग सरफेस होती है, ओके, उसको हम बोलते हैं लश्यर या फिर एक चमक. Materials like the iron, copper, aluminium which have usually shining surface are called the lustrous materials. ऐसे मटेरियल जैसे कि आयरन, कॉपर, एल्यूमिनियम, उनके पास एक शाइनिंग सरफेस होती है, इसलिए हम उसको बोलते हैं लश्रस मटेरियल. They are usually metals, or usually metals होते हैं. We also find that there are a large number of other objects whose surface does not have a shine or luster. These dull-looking materials such as paper, plastic, wood, etc., which do not have shine are called the non-lustrous material. Basically, जिनके पास shine नहीं है, उनको हम non-lustrous material बोल देते हैं. Most of the metals are lustrous. Gold and silver are lustrous material. It is due to their luster that they are used in making jewelry. और गोल्ड सिल्वर जो होते हैं वो ही मेरे लस्ट्रस मेटल होते हैं, इसी वजह से उसको ज्वेलरी में यूज किया जाता है. Some metals often lose their shine and appear dull because of the action of the air and moisture on them. We therefore notice the luster only on the freshly cut surface. इसलिए हमें luster जो है एक freshly cut surface पे ही दिखता है. Solubility: take a glass or a beaker or fill it with half water, add half a spoonful of the sugar, stir the contents with a spoon, wait for a few minutes and observe. You will find that sugar had disappeared into the water. This showed that the sugar had dissolved in water and it's soluble in water. If we taste this water, it is sweet. Why? Because the sugar is still there in the water, but its particles have become so small and spread uniformly in water, but we cannot see them. Substances like the salt and sugar that are soluble in water are called the soluble substances. ऐसे सब्सटेंसेस जो वाटर में सॉल्युबल हो जाएं बट हम उसको देख ना पाए, उसको बोलेंगे सॉल्युबल सब्सटेंसेस. शुगर एक सॉल्युबल सब्सटेंस है जो वाटर में इजीली सॉल्व हो जाता है. Now take another glass and fill it with water, add half a spoonful of sand in it, stir the content with a spoon and observe. We find that the sand settles down at the bottom of the glass. We can say that sand does not dissolve in water and it is insoluble in water. Substances like sand and dust do not mix with water, even on stirring are called the insoluble substances. Sand एक मेरा insoluble substance है क्योंकि वो water के साथ में घुलता नहीं है, वो नीचे जाके जम जाता है. Solubility of solids in water: substances that dissolve when mixed with water are called said to be soluble in water, whereas the substances that do not dissolve or mix in water are called insoluble in water. ऐसे substance जो dissolve हो जाए water में, मिक्स हो जाए, उनको soluble होते हैं वाटर में और उनको solubility बोल देते हैं, या फिर जो insoluble होंगे बेसिकली जो मिक्स नहीं होंगे या dissolve नहीं होंगे उनको बोलेंगे वो insoluble वाटर में होंगे. Now activity zone: take the sugar, salt, honey, sand, chalk powder. Now take 5 beakers with equal amount of water. Dissolve the things you have taken in beaker. Find out which substance dissolve in water and which does not. Solubility of liquids in water. We will now observe the solubility of some liquid materials by performing the following activity. Activity zone: take 4 test tubes, fill them half with water. Take about 1 teaspoon of the alcohol, vinegar, mustard oil and kerosene. Add a spoonful of vinegar to one of the test tube and shake it well. Repeat the same process with other substance. Let the test tube stand for the 5 minutes. Observe what happens. You will see that the alcohol and vinegar have completely mixed to form a single layer, whereas mustard oil and kerosene do not get mixed with water. They form a separate layers. Liquids that get completely mixed with water are called the miscible in water. Some others that do not mix with water and form separate layer are the immiscible in water. Basically ऐसे liquids जो water के साथ में mix हो जाएं उनको हम बोलते हैं miscible in water, और ऐसे liquid जो नहीं हो पाए और एक separate layer बना दें उसको हम बोलते हैं immiscible in water. Now the solubility of gases in water: some gases are soluble in water whereas some are not. Water usually has some small quantity of some gases dissolved in it. Plants and animals that live in water use the oxygen dissolved in water for their survival. Gases like nitrogen, hydrogen and marsh gas do not dissolve in water. They are insoluble in water. बेसिकली कुछ ऐसी गैस ऑलरेडी वाटर में होती हैं जो सॉल्युबल या फिर सॉल्ट स्टेट में ही होती हैं, ओके, स्मॉल क्वांटिटीज होती हैं। और प्लांट एंड एनिमल जो बेसिकली मेरे सी में रहते हैं, ओके, वो वाटर यूज करते हैं, उसके अंदर ऑलरेडी ऑक्सीजन डिजॉल्व होती है। और ऐसी गैसेस लाइक नाइट्रोजन, हाइड्रोजन, मार्श गैस या फिर मीथेन, वो सब डिजॉल्व नहीं होती वाटर के अंदर, तो ये इनसॉल्युबल इन वाटर में होती हैं। हार्डनेस, you have seen a neem tree bark and its nimboli. Scrape a piece of bark from a tree and pluck a leaf. Try to press both. What do you observe? It is difficult to press the bark, but the leaf gets compressed and mutilated. Those substances which can be easily compressed are soft, but those which cannot be compressed are hard. Foam, melted wax, and sponge are some examples of the soft materials. फोम और मेल्टेड वॉक्स और स्पॉन्ज जो होती है वो कुछ एग्जांपल्स होती हैं सॉफ्ट मटेरियल्स की, ओके। मोस्ट मेटल्स जैसे कि आयरन, कॉपर, एल्यूमिनियम, वो सब एग्जांपल्स हैं हार्ड मटेरियल का, ओके। डायमंड इज द हार्डेस्ट नेचुरल सब्सटेंस, सो इट कैन स्क्रैच एंड कट द ग्लास। ट्रांसपेरेंसी, you can see through the glass because it allows light to pass through it. Wood or wooden partition does not allow light to pass through it. हम ग्लास में से देख सकते हैं क्योंकि हम उसमें से लाइट बेसिकली पास हो सकती है, बल्कि वुल और वुडन जो होता है वो लाइट को अलाउड नहीं करते पास होने के लिए। द मटेरियल्स विच अलाउ लाइट टू पास थ्रू देम आर कॉल्ड द ट्रांसपेरेंट। ग्लास, एक्रेलिक शीट, वाटर, एयर एंड ट्रांसपेरेंट मटेरियल्स, ऐसे मटेरियल जो अलाउ करते हैं लाइट को जिससे कि वो पास हो पाए एक दूसरे से, उसको हम बोलते हैं ट्रांसपेरेंट। ग्लास, एक्रेलिक शीट और वाटर, एयर, ये सब मेरे ट्रांसपेरेंट मटेरियल्स हैं। द मटेरियल विच डू नॉट अलाउ लाइट टू पास थ्रू देम आर कॉल्ड द ओपेक। और ऐसे मटेरियल जो अलाउ नहीं करते लाइट को पास उनके थ्रू होने पे, उसको हम बोलते हैं ओपेक। वुड, स्टोन, कार्डबोर्ड, मेटल, ये सब मेरे ओपेक मटेरियल्स हैं। Certain materials allow only a part of the light to pass through them. Such materials are called the translucent. कुछ मटेरियल ऐसे होते हैं कि उसमें कुछ लाइट पास हो सकती है, नॉट कंप्लीटली, जस्ट पार्शियली पास हो सकती है, उनको हम बोलते हैं ट्रांसलूसेंट। ऑयली पेपर, वैक्स पेपर, ये सब मेरे एग्जांपल हैं ट्रांसलूसेंट मटेरियल के। एक्टिविटी जोन, look through a clear glass window pane of your bedroom. You will able to see the things clearly outside your room. In spite of the fact that there is a solid gas in between you and outside, such materials through which you can see are called the transparent materials. Now place a white sheet of paper on the glass window pane and look through it. You will notice that you cannot see anything through a paper. Such materials through which you cannot see are called the opaque materials. Now remove the paper and in the middle of it pour few drops of any kind of oil. When the oil spreads on the paper, place it on the glass window pane and look through it. You will notice the object outside are faintly visible. Such material through which you can see partially are called the translucent material. So we can see all the substance around have some common and some different properties. Properties of any material determined to its use. Floating and sinking. Substances insoluble in water can float or sink in it. Let us do the following activity to understand. कुछ ऐसे सब्सटेंस होते हैं जो इनसॉल्युबल होते हैं वाटर में, वो इवन फ्लोट और सिंक भी कर सकते हैं। एक्टिविटी जोन, टू फाइंड वेदर द सब्सटेंस सिंक और फ्लोट इन वाटर, थिंग्स नीडेड: dried leaf, cotton, a coin, iron nails, plastic ball, a piece of wood, wax piece, few drops of honey. Method: take a beaker half filled with water. Now drop the above material one by one. Observe whether they float or sink in water. Observation, बेसिकली क्या ऑब्जर्वेशन रहेगा इस चीज का? We observe that stone, coin, drops of honey and iron nail sink in water because these materials are heavier than water. We also observe that the dried leaves, plastic ball, wood piece and wax piece float on the surface of water because these materials are lighter than water. कुछ मेरे मटेरियल्स होंगे जो हैवियर होंगे वाटर से, वो सब सिंक कर जाएंगे, और कुछ होंगे जो लाइटर होंगे वाटर से, वो मेरे उसके ऊपर तैर रहे होंगे। Conduction of the heat. Conduction is the ability of material to allow heat or electricity to flow through it. Based upon this, materials can be grouped into two types: conductor or insulators. Conductors are materials that allow the flow of heat through them, whereas insulators are materials that do not allow the flow of heat through them. बेसिकली कंडक्शन एक ऐसी एबिलिटी है मटेरियल की जिससे कि हीट या फिर इलेक्ट्रिसिटी पास हो पाए। नाउ बेस्ड दिस मटेरियल के हम ग्रुप कर सकते हैं टू टाइप्स में, कंडक्टर्स या फिर इंसुलेटर्स। कंडक्टर्स ऐसे मटेरियल्स जो अलाउ करते हैं फ्लो ऑफ हीट थ्रू देम, और इंसुलेटर्स ऐसे मटेरियल्स जो अपने थ्रू हीट अलाउ नहीं करते हैं। ओके और मोस्ट मेटल्स जो होते हैं वो गुड कंडक्टर्स ऑफ हीट होते हैं, और वुड, प्लास्टिक, एयर जो होते हैं वो सब मेरे इंसुलेटर्स होते हैं। द प्रॉपर्टी ऑफ कंडक्शन इज यूज्ड फॉर मेकिंग कुकिंग पैन्स। द बॉडी ऑफ द पैन इज मेड अप ऑफ अ metal conductor. The handle of the pan is made up of wood, plastic, which are insulators. तो ऐसी प्रॉपर्टी जिससे कि यूज हो पाए खाना बनाने के लिए उनको कुकिंग पैंस में यूज होता है। बॉडी जो होती है मेटल की होती है जो कि एक कंडक्टर होती है, और हैंडल जो होता है वो एक इंसुलेटर का होता है, वुड या फिर एक टफ प्लास्टिक का होता है। The conducting material make the food get conduct cooking by heat, and the insulating material enables to use the hold the pan. Conduction of the electricity. Similar to the conduction of heat, certain materials are good conductor of electricity while some are not. कंडक्शन के जैसे ही जैसे हीट की कंडक्शन होती है, कुछ मटेरियल्स जो होते हैं वो गुड कंडक्टर्स ऑफ इलेक्ट्रिसिटी होते हैं, और कुछ ऐसे भी होते हैं जो नहीं होते। कंडक्टर्स आर मटेरियल दैट कंडक्ट द इलेक्ट्रिसिटी, इंसुलेटर्स आर मटेरियल दैट डू नॉट कंडक्ट द इलेक्ट्रिसिटी। Metals are good conductors of electricity. Plastic, wood, air, clothes, ceramic and rubber and insulators. कंडक्टर्स एक ऐसे मटेरियल्स है जो कंडक्ट करते हैं इलेक्ट्रिसिटी, और इंसुलेटर्स ऐसे मटेरियल्स हैं जो कंडक्ट नहीं करते हैं इलेक्ट्रिसिटी। नाउ मेटल्स ऐसे हैं जो गुड कंडक्टर इलेक्ट्रिसिटी के हैं, वहीं प्लास्टिक, वुड, एयर, क्लोथ ये सब मेरे जो है इंसुलेटर्स हैं। Electricity is supplied to our homes through wires and cables. These cables have thin metal wires for carrying electricity, covered by the plastic for insulation. Various electrical appliances such as the electric kettle, electric iron, mixer, and the washing machine have an outer covering of insulating material to protect us from the electric shock. Now let's see the glossary. Grouping. Placing or sorting similar things together is called the grouping. Classification. The process of systematically arranging things into group on the basis of common property. Natural materials. Natural materials are those materials which occur in the nature of their own. Transparency, the ability of material to allow light to pass through it. Luster, the property of substance due to which it has shiny surface. Solubility, the ability of substance to dissolve in another substance. Flotation, the property of floating material on the liquid. Magnetism, the property of attracting magnetic materials to a magnet. Conductors, the materials through which the electricity is passed easily. Insulators, those materials which are poor or bad conductors of heat and electricity. Now let's recall the chapter. Anything that has mass and occupies space is called the matter. We organize things by classifying them into groups based on some common characteristic or property. Grouping or sorting out things into separate groups on the basis of their shape, color, material and nature is known as classification. A material can be used to make different kind of things. We group materials on the basis of common properties such as appearance, luster, solubility, hardness, transparency and floating and the sinking. Now student, it's the time for the practice. Which of the following materials is the lustrous? Wood, gold, paper or sulfur? It is a gold. Which of the following is not a hard material? Iron, nail, foam, copper ring, aluminium rod, foam. Which of the following will sink in water? Paper, wood, iron, all of these. It's iron. Okay. Now, which of the following is soluble in water? Sand, plastic, common salt, chalk powder, and it is common salt. Materials that can be compressed easily are called the soluble, hard, insoluble, soft. Okay. Now, dash is everything that can be seen or touched. Matter. Dash 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 are naturally occurring materials. Wood, cotton. These are three materials that are mainly naturally occurring materials. Sand and dust do not mix with water. Materials allowed light to pass through them. Transparent. Grouping of similar things together is called the classification. Okay. Now write T for the true and F for the false. Iron is a magnetic material. Yes. An object may be made up of different materials. Yes. Metals are the non-lustrous? No. Nitrogen, hydrogen are soluble in water? No. Petrol, spirit, alcohol, non-combustible materials? No. Most metals are the hard materials? Yes. Sawdust, immiscible in water. Diamond, a hard as substance. Water is transparent. Sugar, miscible water. Cast shadow, it is opaque substance. Crossword puzzle, this you can do by yourself. This is a small exercise. Now answer the following question. How can you find whether a material is lustrous or non-lustrous? Basically, these answers already described in the class, but I will give you the reference where you will find out the answer and you can note it down. And there is a small exercise through which you can find whether material is lustrous or non-lustrous. Basically, this exercise or this activity will brief you that whether material is lustrous or non-lustrous, and you can answer it down. Now, state the difference between miscible and immiscible liquid. Basically, miscible liquids are those liquids which are dissolved in water or which are soluble in water, but immiscible liquids which get a separate layer in water. Okay, why do we classify objects? So basically, for classifying of the object, this paragraph you can take the classification of material till this, or you can mention this activity also in your answer. Okay, now what are the translucent materials? Give two examples. Translucent materials through which only a partial light can pass. Okay, these are the translucent. Oily paper and wax paper are the example. What are the important properties of material? Basically, all important property you have to just write it down, 2 or 3 lines about them. Like important properties are appearance and luster, solubility, okay, hardness, transparency, floating and sinking. These all are the important properties of the material. Thank you, class.